We were at a wedding in North Louisiana for a nephew, and we started back that evening. And about the time we got to Bryan, there was a big dust storm, and there were emergency units running all over the place, so it was real chaotic looking at Bryan. And off in the distance, you could see the smoke. And then the cell phone started ringing, telling us to get off at 21 because they had already closed it down. And the next couple of calls we got, the fire had jumped to 71, and the caller said, "You might as well just slow down because, your house is a mile and a half through the woods, and the fire's going that direction." So we decided to go see if we could find our dogs and see how close the fire was to the house. And got within about 4 blocks of the house and got stopped by a fire marshal. Want to know what we were doing. We told him we were trying to find our dogs. So he pointed down Conopala and he said, "Do you live the other side of the creek or this side?" Well, I could see the other side of the creek was burning. So I just told him, "No, we live closer in." And he said, "Well, make it quick." So we took off, and of course we crossed the creek, and he saw us do that. As soon as we hit the top of the hill, everything was on fire on both sides of the road.
Which is the street we lived on.
And I drove past the house, and Jason told me, he said, "You passed the house?" I said, "No, I don't think so." He said, "Yeah, you did." And I looked back, and what I thought was a little miniature station wagon was what was left of my Durango. It was sitting on the frame. And our house was probably about knee-high at that high, still burning, but knee-high. We never found the dogs till weeks later. So we got back up to the intersection where the fire marshal was, and he was hopping up and down and carrying on. And he said, "What do you two idiots think you're doing?" I said, "Well, I told you we were going to go check on the house." He said, "Yeah, but you lied to me. You told me you were this side of the creek." I said, "What would you do?"
The impact that Mission U2 had on us on a daily basis when we were going back to our property and trying to sift through all of our what was left from the ashes of the fire and the metal and the ceiling, whatever that stuff is that falls from the ceiling when it's burned. Getting a break from that, going up to the tent and just talking with people. I had several people pray with me just so we can make it through the day. We would see other neighbors and community members that would give us hugs, and it was so warming to know that they're there and that we could go up there just to get away from that smell of that fire. I mean, even though the fire was out, the smell and no matter what you touched, there would be dust. I can't tell you the number of times I hurt myself, and thank God they were up there because I could run up there and get some Band-Aids because it's not something I had with me. And or we could get a case of water, and it was just so much love there that, again, it was just a blessing to us. I don't know what we would have done without you guys. It was awesome. We came from Houston, and if this had to happen to us, we're so thankful we were in Bastrop, and where an organization like Mission U2 was there to help.
I basically grew up in Houston, Texas. That's basically where I lived most of the time. Till I came here, I had a close family life. I was adopted. I have a real sister somewhere.
Somewhere?
I don't know. No. My parents had passed away, so they wanted my cousin to help look out after them. So essentially, he bought a house down here, and then after a long period of time, he sold it out from under me and put me on the streets. I don't think anybody should live in this situation because I don't think God meant for people to live like this. Like, in other words, if I was rich and had a lot of money, and I saw somebody in here laying down, I guess I'd say I see you're having a hard time of it. So how can I help make your life better? You're trying to help people and change people's lives, but in the end, that's their decision. It's something positive and it's something to look forward to. There's probably more people in Mission U2 that like me than people on the streets. Makes me have a certain amount of hope for the future. I mean, you ought to be positive, but if somebody helps you, that maybe gives you a positive influence. It would be nice if someday every town had something like this. I think that's what. Well, I mean, eventually, Tom would, I assume, like to see it all over the world.
You know, it's hard to raise a family when you don't have nothing. You know, all my money that I made today went to my rent and went to my utilities just to move from here. Because my lights here is just as much as my rent, and I can't afford it no more. So we're moving. And so all of our money went towards that. So we have nothing. My kids run around and, you know, they come home with some burgers. Hey, Mom, look, they're giving away free food. Because, I mean, and it helps. It really does. I mean, right now it did. Because we have no food right now. Not until my food stamps comes in, and that's only 11. So we're kind of like eating like canned foods right now. And so on Thursday, it's like a blessing that we get hamburgers. If they're not here to make theirs, I get them for them, you know, to make sure they eat. And I get my husband's because he don't go down there, or he's normally at work. So, you know, it's kind of hard. The reason I don't have food now is because of the neighborhood. When my kids' friends are here and I'm cooking supper, I don't feed just mine. I feed them too. If you can help others, always help others before you help yourself. Always. I mean, in the long run, God sees what goes on. God sees what you do for others, and He will award you eventually for that.